Hey everyone, this is Hill Street Soul, and you're tuned in to the core with DaMillennialCoach, discussing topics on real life. Check it out. Everywhere you go, don't forget the ghetto. Listen to the core.
Hello, coaches. I'm the Millennial Coach, and you're back in my lab and watching the Core podcast. So thank you so much for joining. I am talking about mindset. Today I'm going to talk about something called ANTS, automatic negative thoughts. Now, before I started doing mindset work, I started realizing I think way too much. Like, my brain is always on 10. And not all the thoughts in my brain are positive. So it's about really identifying and also, being able to capture the thoughts as you're having them. And so when you're having automatic negative thoughts, it's actually sending you into a spiral of what you don't want. So when we talk about the law of attraction, it's not just about negative thoughts or positive thinking. Is also about what is the feeling that comes along with it, because your mind, actually what you think about, you bring about. Okay, so we get 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Okay, now some of us are consciously aware of what we're thinking, and the majority of us are unconsciously aware of what we're thinking. And what we need to also recognize is we are also under our subconscious programming. So when we're having thoughts, it's not stuff that we're thinking consciously about. We are thinking from an unconscious perspective. So think about all the things that has been said to you. Think about all the rejection, all the joy. Things keep coming up based on the environments that you're in. Okay, so you might be somewhere and you have deja vu, so then a thought comes up. What were you doing in that time and space? Were you in a good place mentally? Where you are, if you're having deja vu, is a good version of deja vu, is it a traumatic version of deja vu? Not laughing, but just saying, because sometimes you're just like, oh my God, I've been here before. You know those dreaded dates, ladies? Yeah, I don't have those experiences because I always go on dates and I have the time of my life, because I'm at the end of the day, if I'm going to spend a couple of hours that I'm never going to get back, I need to make it fun. So I always think to myself, if I'm going to have a thought now in my life, how is this thought helping me for the future version of myself? So ants are really, really important. And the reason I'm talking about ants is because automatic negative thoughts is because it's automatic. So therefore, we don't even realize that it's happening when it's happening. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, when you know how you got pregnant, right? Because you felt it, or you've had IVF and it's taken. So you're conscious. But it's when you have no clue about why you're attracting certain people and situations. It's when someone says to me, I can't ever get a job of this thing, because we're not thinking big enough. So sometimes when we don't think big enough, our automatic negative thoughts keep us small. And then it creates that poverty mindset, that scarcity mindset. And that's what lives in our subconscious. Oh, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. So it's this, that, and the third that we're trying to actually remove. So what I do want to talk about in relation to it is the filters that we have. So when we're looking for a filter, it tends to be negative, and that's where the automatic negative thoughts are birthed from, is our filters. Our filters are the way we perceive the world, in the way that it impacts us individually. So some people see children as a problem, so they don't want to have children, or they see children as expensive, so they don't want to have children. Some people see children as a blessing, so they will have umpteen amounts of kids. And some people see children as a societal experience, and also a cultural expectation. So the filter and the lens in which you see the world is based on your subconscious, that then creates your automatic negative thoughts. Because why I'm saying that If we were to rewind the clock at least 50 to 100 years ago, it was the expectation that you get married and have a child. Now we move into the day and age that I'm having this conversation. You don't have to have children. It's not a societal expectation anymore. You can have a child or a family without a man. You can be in same-sex relationship openly and have children. So those automatic negative thoughts then transcend into other things where there's creation and elevation, because people are now thinking beyond a poverty mindset and thinking for themselves and being conscious. So when we are having ants, when we're having those automatic negative feelings, rather than change our feelings, a lot of people tend to actually use tools to help them change their potential mindset. But these tools are not always useful, and I'm going to go into going to psychics and fortune tellers and reading. It might give you temporary pleasure of what potentially could be. Because I listen to, my Virgo horoscopes. Shout out to all my Virgos, and I hope you all had fun in Virgo season this year. But do I necessarily believe them? I actually think they're quite fun. I'm like, oh, I'm going to meet the man of my dreams in the supermarket while I'm in the gluten-free aisle. So you need to think about, what do these things look like when you are having automatic negative thoughts? If you're able to catch them, then you can do something with them. If you're not able to catch them, you're going to get in a perpetual cycle of negativity. But the perpetual cycle of negativity isn't going to allow you to be better than you were. It's actually going to take you into a spiral that you actually, unfortunately, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, and I've had those where you just get into a place where you're always talking about something that's negative, and then what you didn't want, the outcome you didn't want, actually became your reality. So this is what the I would say extreme consequences of automatic negative thoughts are. And also, when we get into that mindset, we start labeling things, we overgeneralize. So we start thinking, I'm a loser. When you're labeling, I'm useless, I'm this, I'm not a good woman. You have got to get out of that mindset. The overgeneralizing. And when we get into a negative mindset, I talk a lot about race, and the reason is my experiences have taught me a lot about how there is a perceived mindset. And it's not everyone, but when it comes to Black people, it actually isn't always very nice. And so Black people tend to live in an anxiety-induced state, and just look at America and the police. How many people have made it home from a police car stop? And I'm not suggesting that it doesn't happen to other cultures, but I think and know that it seems to be extreme when it happens to be a Black person. Like, the way people deal with us sometimes is so extreme, and you can't just, like the boy that shot those people and killed them in the Atlanta school, Apache, I can't even pronounce it. It sounds like Apache. Apache, I believe that's the area. A year before, it's on the body cam. The police went to the dad's house where the boy was living because the boy allegedly had said he wants to do harm in the school or something along those lines. And they asked the dad, do you have weapons in the house? He said, yes, I do. And this was a threat that the boy had actually made to the school. And you know what the police did? They just talked to him nicely. Now, if that was a Black person and the police went to the house, I think they would have gone with a SWAT team and said they're a threat. And you might think I'm exaggerating, but if I was Black and I was Black in America, I would pack up and be Black somewhere else, because I'm embarrassed from a humanity perspective that we actually create ants for certain cultures because of societal abuse and abuses of power that have changed the trajectory of a race of people globally. Now, people are overcoming and breaking through and challenging the ants, and so you have so many incredible human beings, i.e. Oprah Winfrey, who came from a place of poverty, i.e. Michael Jackson, whose family was so poor. And so there are people who actually, and I know why a lot of people change, because they start looking at who they are, the gifts that they have, and also just acknowledging they're a human being with feelings. If we take the race out of it, we're just human beings with feelings. We are just human beings with feelings. And we can treat people so much better, and we can have a better, healthy mental health if we just said, that is another human. That is not a colour, that is a human being. With ants, it impacts our emotional thinking. We see failure in such a detrimental way, not as a learning experience when you're having automatic negative thoughts. And when it's detrimental, it actually then cascades out. So if you, like I've had not nice work experiences as a woman of colour or black woman in the UK. And the thing that I don't tend to share my story. And as I said, I'm using this platform as an autobiographical output, because a lot of people, when I've met Americans, they don't even know what we've had to go through out here. And then I go to Europe, and then black people in Europe think the black people in the UK are so successful. And black people in the UK think black people in America are uber successful. And because we have people like Ava DuVernay, and then we have, someone like an actor like Samuel L. Jackson, who's phenomenal, but they're great at their craft. And they've had to break through barriers in order for people to see their talent. And it hasn't just been offered to them because they're a good actor. Viola Davis talks about, if you think white women are underpaid, black women are underpaid than white women. So there is a fundamental issue when it comes to race. So why I'm saying that is it's heightened when it comes to ants in terms of cultural awareness. And so when we see people act in a certain way, as a black person, I overthink. You overthink how you communicate to people who are not black. And you learn how to temper your emotions, which I think is unfair. I think is incredibly unfair, because you're actually betraying yourself in order to accommodate someone else's issues. So ants are automatic, but also they're society induced through anxiety and bad behavior that people have experienced. And I also want people to be aware that when you are experiencing ants, one thing we do, and I know I've been someone who does this, is blame other people. Well, it's because of, but you know something, okay, let me caveat that, the blaming other people. Some people are just idiots. So let's keep it 100. From a self-leadership perspective, or even a leadership perspective, sometimes you work with stupid people. So when you work with stupid people, it's not that you're even blaming them. You understand the reason something's gone wrong because they're dumb. And like my cousin said, you can't do nothing about dumb. When someone's dumb, they're dumb. So there's nothing anyone can do about it. So automatic negative thoughts, they are a little bit of a parasite in our minds. But we can overcome them, and we can interrupt them by having affirmations. I am amazing. So what I tend to do, when I have a thought, when I'm feeling low, I always go back to affirmations, and then I will say it 10 times. I am a divine spirit living an amazing life. I am a divine spirit living an amazing life. I am a divine spirit living an amazing life. I am a divine spirit living an amazing life. I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. So these are the kind of things, when you start thinking next, interject, intercede, get in there, say things to yourself, pour into yourself. Because what you've got to start doing is building yourself up instead of looking externally and thinking someone's going to do it for you. So I hope that's been useful. I hope that you've understood what automatic negative thoughts do to your mindset in order to move from a scarcity poverty mindset to a successful mindset. So I always get my words twisted. I think it's nerves when I do these videos. So I want to apologize for previous videos, and I want to apologize in advance because it's a little bit intimidating, and hoping you're going to enjoy the videos. So I am the Millennial Coach. I hope that you've enjoyed. Please like, share and subscribe. And also remember, I'm a child of immigrants, so we need to get this channel maximized. And I hope that it's been useful. Please write your comments and let me feedback to you. If you do want to catch hold of me, you can email me at da.millennial.coach@gmail.com. Peace.